something really cool has just happened. It doesn't feel cool for Tama, but it's a perfect example for us to work with. So I've been clearing some tracks in her system, and I just left the room to open the door. And when I came back in, she said, I felt like my whole body is releasing, and now it's getting stuck in the back of my head, and I have a little bit of a headache. So what that indicates to me is that we have a disconnect where things are not flowing through, and they're not going all the way above and over and to the anterior part of the body. So what that tells me is that we have a disconnect, and so I want to find the disconnect. I want to find the points of origin. I want to find the distortion under the disconnect, and then figure out how best to address that. One thing I know for sure is that I'm going to want to drop the headpiece a little bit, because I feel like that's creating a disconnect through the neck in and of itself. So before I do that, I just want to figure out where is our disconnect. So also, yeah, she's helping us right away by moving her arms and creating a change in posture, change in position. So I've got, through her system, I've got unified tone, 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 tone. It's starting to get a little bit higher tone in through here. Then I come in here and it actually drops out a lot. So right through here, I have a dormant disconnect. And I say it's dormant because here I have medium tone, here I have low tone, and it's not building. It's a stable disconnect. And then as I come here, when I come about C4, I have another disconnect. And that is actually an active disconnect, where on the opposite side of the disconnect, the tone or tension or potential is building. So when I have a dormant disconnect and an active disconnect, I'm always going to start with the dormant first. So that means we're going to work through this disconnect first and then recheck this one. Now, having her put her arms up, which she did naturally and automatically, was very helpful. But I'm going to see, Tama, if you put them just down by your side, yeah.
Is there any chance I could have a blanket over my legs?
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay. And so here, okay, my points of origin are right here. They are medial to the scapula. They're at about T1, 2, T3 laterally, medial to the scapula. And it just feels like this whole area is crunching I to S. So that's my distortion. So first thing I can do, have her take a breath. Deep breath. Deep, 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 deep breath. Now, it's very common when we have a disconnect that the person's breath is not actually going to make it to the point of disconnect. But we want to give them that opportunity so that when they feel like they have disconnect in their system, they know they can always take a nice deep breath. And actually, that did help quite a bit, but not quite as much as I'd like. So my next option is change in position. Okay, so I could have her bring her arms down, but I feel like that was part of the cause in the beginning, so we're going to skip that, and I'm going to drop the headpiece. Just lift your head a little bit. Okay. Now that might actually be too much, we'll see, but actually already that feels to me like there's a little bit more ease through her cervicals there, and the tone in through here is picking up beautifully. So just changing position with the headpiece was actually enough to establish continuity. So we use breath, we use change in position, and now let's check how that second, we still have this disconnect, but it's gone from being an active disconnect to a dormant disconnect. So let's figure this out through here. Same process. TPs of C4. I'm just going to hold on both sides, and Tama, I'm going to have you take a deep breath through your mouth. Okay, that's a good start. That's bringing the tone up in the cervicals. Not quite as much as I'd like. Now I could do change of position. I could have her sit up. I want to be able to keep my access to the whole back of her head. So I don't think I want her to sit up. I don't want to drop the headpiece more. We could mess around with the arms, but I think the best thing to do in this case is skip to the next thing, which is going to be a long lever. Now, long lever, we can use arms or hair. And hair is kind of a medium long lever. It's one that I like using a lot, and particularly if somebody's telling me that they feel like the energy is getting caught up in their head, I think it's a beautiful thing to use. We'll go through this in detail a little bit later, but so I can't, obviously she doesn't have a lot of hair at C4, correct? So the hair I'm going to be accessing to get down to here. So actually, I think I don't want the hair that's closest to that part. I want the hair that is going to be most in alignment to that line of pull. So, okay. So right now, I'm taking a big chunk of hair on both sides. Never take a tiny little piece. It hurts. It's uncomfortable. So what I'm doing is I'm going through her scalp. There's a little bit of resistance. And then as soon as she realizes I'm not trying to hurt her, her system is going to let me in. Okay. And I'm giving in a little bit so that she feels more comfortable. And then we're just seeing what the give is. There we go. When I'm saying there we go, it's like her whole scalp is melting into her hair. And it's just starting to move through. Now take a nice deep breath through your mouth again. Now when I have, this is great. Nice change through here. And the scalp feels unified all throughout. So we're going to go ahead and ask her, Tama, does that feel any different?
Yeah, it does. I feel it in my forehead now.
Okay, cool. So that discomfort that she was feeling before in the back of her head is now moving into her forehead, which is perfect because this is the time that I would have said to her, let's turn you over. So that's perfect. So that is an example of establishing continuity in the middle of your session. If somebody's getting uncomfortable, if you feel like things aren't moving, always go back and establish continuity.